And we're back for episode 10 of the Natty Muscle Radio podcast on the live wire.
On the live wire?
The live wire.
You sound like a mother. On the wireless.
On the, YouTube thingamabob, Tinternet.
Yeah.
So episode 10, did you know that is your Roman numerals X, which actually means that Weapon X, as in Wolverine, is actually because it's Weapon 10, not Weapon X. So I'm not sure if you know, a bit of trivia for you from the comics.
Wow. Does this, we could very easily make this a very geeky podcast. I don't have a great deal of comic book knowledge, but I challenge anyone to a Star Wars knowledge off.
I think you'd win that one.
I think people would struggle on that one.
They would, I think so.
Yeah.
It's I just like to watch them all from start to finish. One big Star Wars-a-thon.
Yeah.
As I like to, me and my brother used to meet up every year. Haven't done it for the last couple of years because he's got a family now. He's cop out.
Yeah.
Children and that.
Adults.
Exactly, where we'd watch all the Hobbit extended versions and then all the Lord of the Rings extended versions.
Wow.
And it's like 14 hours per Hobbit, per Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It's like 2 days of just eating.
Wow.
So
it was tough. It was tough when I filmed that. When me, Dan, and Edgy took part in the recording of The Hobbit as extras.
The Fellowship of the Gains. Is that actually a Instagram page, and do you actually post on it?
Not often enough. I believe Edgy has the main admin. As we've noticed recently, I think you can only have one person signed into one Instagram account. You can't have multiple. But yeah, you might see it, or you may have seen it, a T-shirt at British finals with 3 handsome men on it dressed as hobbits.
Which unfortunately is going to be topped by
the
meme of the year.
Yeah.
Top 3. And they just get better all the time, don't they? Get better every week.
You guys are in for a treat with the first video meme, really.
It's a trailer, actually.
Just full on advert, isn't it?
It's a trailer, and you've got to put it at the start of the podcast. Yeah. Maybe intro music first, then the trailer, then us.
And then I kind of want to just do it again every 3 minutes. It's that good. Just nobody knows what we're talking about, but you will soon enough.
Yep, you will soon enough. So, do we want to do a quick plug for that?
Yeah, go on.
You introduce it. Let's say you know more than me, but you had a good idea of making it a little bit separate from what we normally do.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, before we go any deeper, I think we leave this too late. Please like, subscribe, share, all those things. To everyone that's taking screenshots and sharing, thank you very much. Everyone that's
notifications on, so you never miss anything.
Yeah, don't want to miss this. Subscribers are going up, likes going up, and views are going up, and that's brilliant. So thank you all for doing that. What we're going to do then is we want Natty Muscle Radio to be a little bit like our favourite YouTube website of all time, RX Muscle. And what we wanted was to have some different programs. So coming next week is
original programming.
Yeah. Is tentative name, but Natty Muscle Radio. I like Saved by the Dumbbell. That'll become apparent when you see the trailer. But what we're looking at is a debate roundtable show. I guess it depends on what the topic is, whether it'll be much of a debate or whether it'll just be anecdotes from everybody. And episode 1 of Saved by the Dumbbell will be myself. Will be
Bros versus Pros.
Pros versus Pros, because it also includes James Poyner, not DFAC Pro, and Marcus Lee, DFAC Pro and Best Chest Hair Award winner 2020.
Winner of the 2019 Dagger Awards.
Dagger. I might even present him the Dagger live for everyone.
Yep.
I mean,
Good.
it'd be
Send
great.
it him in the post, make him open it. Yep.
But that'll be next weekend, and that'll go live, and it'll be a round table. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. Can't wait.
So we haven't even worked out logistics of how this works yet. But can we do 4 people on a Skype call? I guess we can.
Bet you can. Well, let's just do it at the time, just see what the jeopardy is.
Well, how are we going to make sure that I'm sat in the right-hand side of the screen or left-hand side or wherever I am? And make sure, we don't want to confuse Chris Edge.
It's a massive ball ache as well for us to set up. It takes us 20 minutes to set this call up every time we do it now. God knows how long it's going to take with, a further 2 people. One in Nottingham as well. I mean, I don't know if they even have internet in Nottingham. You might have to drive
in another parallel universe, James Poignant is probably posting about that episode as we're recording this episode.
Yeah?
I've just seen it flash up on my screen. That's why my eyes were reading.
It's almost like we planned it. We didn't. We didn't
plan it.
We didn't plan it.
Wow, eerie.
Yeah.
Eerie indeed. So, housekeeping this week. Anything to report?
Still training in my living room. You're still training
in your living room.
Still training in your garden. How's Brett?
However, I did manage to get a gym session in this week.
Nice.
At a gym that won't be named, but it wasn't Gym Unity. Seriously, wasn't Gym Unity. Which was very eventful, shall I say. I just trained back for an hour and a half, and I did what everyone else should do when they go back to the gym, and do every bit of equipment that you can't do at home.
Okay.
So my back workout consisted of every single back machine that they have. Not a dumbbell row, not a barbell row, not a T-bar row. Well, I did a T-bar, but I did it on a machine.
Right.
Machine T-bar. Which actually was a bit of not a revelation, because it wasn't. But I used the Watson T-bar row machine, which I've not used before. And it's always nice to have a piece of equipment you've not used before, because you've used other T-bar rows like those. But the only, how should we say, fault with the machine is that the pick-off is really high. It'd be perfect for you with like 2-inch arms.
Quality.
I don't mean around, I mean in length.
It's not far, is it?
Yeah.
Not far.
So you basically, as soon as you get to any heavy sets, you can't put the weight back. So, but I still manage to get like 6 plates.
So is that you have to do a massive shrug to get the weight back on?
I don't know how you get it back on. It caused me the double hernia, I think. So,
was workout with all the equipment better than workout with just free weights at home?
No, is a question, but I'm so sore just because I just trained back for an hour and a half and just basically just did loads of sets.
Right.
The classic, probably over 20 working sets for sure.
Wow.
So, but I just thought, well, why not? Might as well just enjoy myself. So that was thoroughly enjoyable, and I'm probably going to get to train there at least once a week now, which is good.
Are you going to do the same thing, or are you going to do?
So I'll just train a different body part every week, I think. Make the split work. So that was cool. I really enjoyed that. So sorry, everyone else, if you're jelly, but don't care because pro bodybuilder. So
yeah, I mean, so that's why I don't do it and you do. What's the difference? It's looking like gyms are opening in the States then, which is cool.
I enjoy seeing the people getting arrested for working out in the gym and all the memes going up because of it.
A few of those, wouldn't they? But some of them have got strange social distancing rules, like you got to have every other treadmill, and certain areas of the gym have got to have not as many people in it. I wonder if that's what we'll end up doing at some point.
Well, I've been informed that Unity have got Perspex already in place.
Wow.
So if you fancy a 2-hour leg workout where we can like scream at each other behind a Perspex glass, that'd be sweet.
Quality.
So
all right. That's good. Looking forward to that.
Pretend I'm serving you your pre-workout from a kiosk, like in a co-op.
Yeah. Okay.
When you've done it as well, which would be cool.
Yeah.
So and obviously you might have seen on the picture, but they have got new sofas installed at Unity as well.
Yeah, nice.
Which is going to be a problem getting off. But
Yeah, and it's also going to not really help social distancing when our favourite thing to do is pre-workout 30-minute chats, really. So
sit at one end of the sofa to the other. There's two sofas.
Fair enough. There you go. Yeah.
Or my lighting's just gone BTEC because my TV's turned itself
off.
Oh. Just,
you're gonna get your selfie ring on or no?
I am, yeah, at some point, but I'll turn the TV back on first, and then we'll go from there, I think, because it's still a little bit light outside. So yeah, that's good. That's good. What else?
See you sponsored by Gasp this week.
Oh, story behind this T-shirt.
God, there's always a story. When is there not a story behind an item of clothing?
So we are officially in summer wardrobe.
Didn't know what you were going to say then, but
summer wardrobe means that this is a certain item of clothing, a whole big bag full.
Yeah.
That stuff does not fit me in the off season, and this is one of the T-shirts.
Nice.
So, did you think I was going to tell you that I was now sponsored by Gasp?
That's exactly what I thought you were going to say.
Fuck, I wish that was the case.
Really?
Yeah, really sorry. So I definitely would have told you beforehand. I would have saved it for the podcast.
Definitely wouldn't have.
Like I'd be able to save that for you. So
I think you should though. If you ever do get sponsored by Gasp, you should save it for the podcast because that'd be a drop, wouldn't it? That'd be.
Oh, big drop, big drop, big drop.
All right, so you're in summer clothes now, so you must be basically shredded then.
Basically, but not shredded. Yeah, sucks. I'm actually in that in between stage now, which I've gone from the fat in between stage, where we've talked about before on this podcast, probably episode 2, which is now like I'm not lean, but I'm not fat anymore. So as opposed to like not being fat but not being lean either, I'm lean, but I'm not shredded.
That's better.
It's better, but I still do. I have one of these physiques as well. Is that the leaner I get, the rounder I get. Whereas most people, the leaner they get, the kind of like stringier they look. But I go the opposite way. So tiny joint syndrome. So yeah, I've actually probably practiced my first bit of proper posing this week as well.
Yeah.
Which was eventful.
How many rounds did you get through before you died?
2 rounds, but constant neck pain for like a day afterwards, and hip flexors. Just felt like I've been doing like abdominals in my garden for the last 24 hours straight.
Well, good.
And Claire said this week that the calves look small.
What?
Or smaller, leaner, smaller, bit skinnier. So I've trained calves twice this week, and Jesus, they've just blown up.
Unlucky Kiwi. Kiwi trained calves 7 days last week and nothing still. So
yeah, they've blown up. They're all swollen and heavy.
Nice.
So, excellent. Cheers, calves.
Well, I'm sponsored by Michael Jordan because have you watched The Last Dance?
Didn't I badger you for like 10 weeks to get you to watch it?
Oh, I was waiting for it to finish, and then we watched it in like 2 nights.
So other than Natty Muscle Radio on the YouTube live wire, it's the second best thing I've seen this year.
It is the second best thing, other than episode 6.
Fucking good as it. Yeah, exactly.
Fucking
brilliant. You just love that mentality. I think that if you could put that into anything, it's like for someone to say, "Do you call yourself Michael Jordan?" Thinking like, "Are you good or what?" And then he just goes and like absolutely obliterates everybody. I love that. It's so cool.
I think I wish it had come out last year when I was on prep because it's the best prep program ever. Like I will watch that series every time I prep, like multiple times, because I'm a basketball fan anyway, but it doesn't matter. It's just about someone that is ruthless in what they do. And it's the best thing is it's not someone that's a bit shit and has like really worked to be good. Like spoiler, they talk about Steve Kerr in it. For anyone who doesn't know, the little blonde one. And he's like kind of average, but like just really gets there. But the fact that Michael Jordan was the best thing ever anyway, but just still absolutely blasted it and still wanted to beat it and got really pissed off if someone like, exactly like you just said, a little bit.
Someone's been mentioned in the same kind of like league as I am, and I'm going to make him absolutely look like an absolute amateur because I've absolutely blasted him.
Absolutely blasted.
Love that. Love
Not
that.
even like just.
It's just to have that. Do you know what I mean? To be able to have that like mentality, but to like the other coach is worried if there's 0.7 seconds left on the clock because Michael Jordan can ruin your whole dreams. Just like
legit.
Brilliant.
As well. I mean,
it's brilliant. Fucking so brilliant to be that good.
It's difficult to kind of conceptualize that. Like if you live in the UK and you don't really watch American sports, it's difficult to conceptualize 0.7 seconds on the clock. You're like, what? Obviously, you can do nothing, but things can happen. But things can definitely happen when you're that person, And there's other basketball players as well.
It's absolutely mental to have that mentality and that work ethic. And it's like I know that obviously that they paint a picture of like they don't really show him missing many shots,
right?
But that whole thing of him just like every time he's got his ball in hand, it's like the other team are just like shit, like he's gonna score. It's like to be that good, brilliant. But as I said, what I was most like, I kind of even explain why I like it so much. But I've had like people like my brother who's not a basketball fan and be like, it's the best thing I've ever seen.
You don't have to be.
And that's like, if you haven't watched it, you're absolutely mental. If you have any kind of like sport following of any sort, whether it be bodybuilding.
And you know what, as well, even if you're not sport, like if you're a businessman or anything, I think, because it's little things like how many seasons he went without winning a championship, and then he did. Little things like that. I think there's a little something for everybody to get some inspiration.
The Nike story was good as well. Nike was just basically a track shoe, and then it's like basically just like Converse were the main basketball shoe. That's rubbish.
That's rubbish.
Everyone knows that they're a deadlift shoe. So it should be deadlifting world championship Converse shoes.
Yeah.
So that was really, really good. There was something else I was going to say to you as well, and I can't remember what it was now. Never mind. Oh yeah, that was what I was going to ask you. So going off the back of that, saying like following sports, the old age question: do you view bodybuilding as a sport?
Ooh.
We could do a whole podcast on this, but we're not. But
this come up on Geared Up a lot, didn't it, back in the day? And I think Johnston always described it as a pageant.
Beauty pageant.
A beauty pageant.
You'd win, definitely, with that beard. So.
I know, of course.
So like, what?
Sorry, let me just fix the back now after I fucked it up. It's difficult to place it, isn't it? And I understand where they're coming from when they say it's a pageant. It is in a sense of it's about how you look, but there are other tangibles to it. I think you have to consider it. Do you consider gymnastics a sport? Do you consider figure skating a sport? Do you consider?
I always use figure skating.
Yeah.
Because I know it's still subjective.
Well, this is the thing. How do you win at it? Well, you win because somebody else chooses to give you more points on a scoring card or not. It's not a game of football where you are scoring more goals than somebody else. It's not even boxing where, okay, there's subjectivity in boxing if you're not knocking someone out, but if you do knock someone out, then you've won, and there's no question about it.
Yeah.
That's not the case in bodybuilding.
Do you get upset when someone says it's not a sport?
No, because I can see how it's not. Yeah. My
boss used to do it all the time. He'd be like, right, see if we can wind Robbo up about this week. And I'd be like, bodybuilding's not a sport, right? I'm like, don't care. It's like, oh,
okay.
Really?
I'm going to start doing it.
It's like,
oh, well.
It's like, he always has a pop at me. He's like, bearing in mind this guy does cycling in full kit, first of all. So shout out Scott Jezad, full kit wanker.
Yeah, cheers, Scott.
Scott's not my boss, just saying. So full kit wanker. But yes, he also likes CrossFit now. Okay. Bearing in mind that he still kind of likes the bodybuilding diet and training stuff. Right. But the point of the story was he would always be like, bodybuilding is the gayest sport ever. I was like, right. He's like, well, Rob, why don't you tell us what you did at the weekend? He's like, so you went to a posing club where everyone rolled down their trousers, round their ankles, left them there, didn't even bother to take them off, some people, rolled their boxer shorts into pants.
Yeah.
And then you went, oh, no, don't put your arms there, put your arms here.
Yeah.
Like for posing practice. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty much it. He's like, that's so gay.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, but you're also a person who does CrossFit and cycling in full kit. Definitely gay.
Yeah.
Definitely more gay. And he's like, okay. So yeah. So yeah, the part of people rolling their boxer shorts into pants, that is a little bit of a bugbear. Like, why not just wear trunks or wear pants?
Well,
buy yourself a pair of briefs.
A couple of things come from that. Yes, I understand that bodybuilding and going up, and the guys in work, they all get it. Like, I've worked with these guys for 5 years now, and they're all great with it. But they'll be like, so what did you do on the weekend? And I just went, I just went to a bodybuilding club where we all just looked at each other. Great. We touched each other at times. Sometimes it was great. And they're like, all right, cool weekend. So I understand how it can be weird, and I understand how people can say it's not a sport. Fine. I actually kind of agree. I'd lean to it being more of a pageant. But what I would say is Ron Partlow summed it up, because I think Dusty and Ron mentioned this as well. Ron doesn't consider it a sport, but he does consider bodybuilders athletes, and I do think there's a difference. You have to train much like an athlete, the same as anybody else. You're still preparing for it. So that's where there's a difference. Now, the second point is, this is a bugbear with posing and posing clubs, especially. People, and you might do this, so if you do, I'm really sorry, but people who pose just with the pants around their ankles and don't take them off, like you said.
No, yeah. Why?
Why?
No, I never do that. I just always, people send me check-ins like it. I'm like, take your trousers off or don't. But
I see it on Instagram. It's like, I've just dropped my trousers to do some posing, but just how much harder was it to take your legs out?
Yeah. Yeah, but if it's put them up in a sec, it's like, yeah, but that's ridiculous.
Right, and it's going to affect.
Why bother doing any washing up ever? Because you're going to use the pan again.
Well, I kind of do.
It doesn't make any sense, does it?
No, I just have one plate all the time. Just
lick it clean.
Yeah.
Lick it clean. So yeah, funny. So I do need to ask you, and I'm not sure if you've had any time to think about it, but we've left everybody on a cliffhanger about the savoury snacks adding to cheese.
Well, that was my question to you.
Yes, that was one of them. And what was my one?
But okay, yeah, best encapsulated bodybuilding food, and I do know what it is.
Okay then, right, rattle that off, and I'm going to rattle you off the answer as well, and you're going to eat your words.
I'll only eat it if it's got cheese on it.
You first.
Okay, so for carbs, fats, protein, all in one, not even a meal, in one item, and it's a very specific.
Is it well macro balanced?
It's well macro balanced.
Okay, that's what the stipulations were, okay. Really.
It doesn't even need any. It doesn't need cutlery or packaging of any sort. Okay. You even eat the container. Okay.
My mind's blown.
It is, and it's got to be this type. Okay. It's a meat and potato pie. Okay.
Okay. Excellent.
Veg in it. Potato.
Wow. Okay. Yep.
Meat can be quite ambiguous in a meat and potato pie. Depending on where you get it from, meat can be meat.
Horse pie.
Quite lean. Sure. Extra carbs. Yeah. And then a quite healthy serving of fat.
Good answer. Very good.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll give you that one. Yep. I'm pleased with your choice.
Okay.
My answer is peanuts.
Cheesy peanuts?
Yeah. How does cheese definitely not make peanuts better?
Have you never had you can get packaged nuts, maybe not peanuts, but nuts, with like in like a cheesy powder.
But that's not grated cheese. We're talking about grated cheese.
Didn't say grated. We did not.
Yes, all right. Cheese slices, the things that you put on a burger and nachos, whatever. You can't claim cheesy powder on peanuts and tell me that you no, you're not having it. Cheesy powder. Who the fuck eats cheesy powder anyway?
All right, let me. Roughly how many weeks have you got left on prep this year? Do you think maybe?
I'll not say much in case I give too much away.
Okay. All right, we're looking at
18 weeks.
All right, okay, all right. Grand Prix, I guess that. So, in 16 weeks, I will offer you some cheesy peanuts, and we'll see whether those cheesy nuts are tempting to you at the time.
Okay.
Much like
not in my macros, bro. Thanks.
All right. Oh, I mean, okay. Much like when Dan North messaged me a few weeks ago, going, I really feel like I want to push harder. Like I feel like I'm eating a lot of food. I really feel like I could be like dieting harder, you know, like to get that prep feeling. And I just messaged him back with the time and date, and said, "This is the moment that I'll remind you of when you're 4 weeks out." Because you
yes. Yeah, he messaged me saying, "Are we really keen to try carb cycling?" I'm like, I don't want to try it if you don't need to. Like, I've spent the most part of the day today feeling shit.
Yeah.
As in energy wise. I've got back from doing my walk and stuff, gone to Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
Come through the door, got a really nice next door neighbour, bless her.
Nice.
She's like, couldn't ask for a nicer next door neighbour.
I bet she'd eat cheesy peanuts.
She probably would. Lends us a watering can every day, bless her. Feed the plants that I got when you was met me for legs that time. Like I don't want to talk to anyone. I was just like, I just want to come in and make my breakfast. I'm like, hi, and then I make an effort, and I'm thinking, it's not even. I'm hungry. There's no doubt I'm hungry, right? But it's the fact that I'm like, the only way I can describe it is if when you start playing with your phone and it's on 1% and it's like, well, go slow. Yeah. And you're like, come on, what's the matter with it? And then you're staring at it thinking, what's the matter with it? And then it dies. That's how I was. I was just like, I rather than just eat, I could just sit down in the chair and stare at the wall. Like that's how kind of like I was just like, I need to eat something to bring me back to life, and that's how I felt. I'm really
happy we're at this point now where keen viewers will remember a few episodes ago when Rob was quite disappointed because he felt flat. Well, I knew what was coming was the anger, and the prep anger would start to go. The anger at the cheese.
Yeah, do you know what? Like, yeah, I guess you could call it that. But I'm never really angry. I guess I get more like. I mean, I probably was irritable for the first time today, and goodness knows how long. Because I'm never really irritable. Yeah. You know, and so it was definitely one of their moments today for sure.
Fucking next up with a
water. Sorry, but I think if you'd asked me at any time of the year if cheesy peanuts was not a valid answer to your question, it wasn't like I said, like I've been through all the scenarios and I've found a winner, and you don't want to admit defeat. Simple as that.
I'm going to draw a line under it here. You can agree to disagree, but I'll find you some cheesy peanuts that'll be to die for.
Okay. Can't wait till you come around my house for a burger, and then the starter's going to be cheesy peanuts. And you'll be like, what the fuck is this? And it literally is going to be KP nuts with grated cheese on top of them.
Quality.
Not melted, just together. It'll probably be actually really nice. We'll be like, fuck.
The fucking best thing.
Fucking lost it.
The more right, okay. So, talking point for the week is believe it or not, is not
cheesy peanuts
or meat potato pies. It was going to be bodybuilding myths and urban legends.
Debunked edition.
Yes. Maybe some of them maybe brought to light and actually true, but we'll see. We'll see how the list kind of goes.
Yeah, exciting subject really, because how should we say? There are some things, old wives' tales, if you want to call them, which maybe still have some precedence is the word. I don't know. Maybe some sort of like makes a little bit of sense.
Yep.
And then there's other things where it's like, I always get them as a prep coach. When am I getting my bottle of wine before my show? You're not. Oh, really? What, we don't do that? No.
Nope.
Oh. All right. Are you sure? Because my mate said he had like a barrel of whiskey and woke up shredded the next day.
Okay.
I was
so
like, oh, okay. Strap in. Okay, strap in, everybody.
what about, let's start
with
with peak week then. That's peak week's the best place to start, I think, because it's such a plethora. We could probably do an episode on myths in peak week. Never mind it.
I think that because that's where, and I'm sure it's been said a million times by a million times other people, it's like, I'm going to follow this diet for 16 weeks. And then what I'm going to do in the last week, I'm going to basically do everything different to what I was doing for the last 16 weeks.
Yeah.
With my water, my carbs, sodium, cheat meals, everything. I'm going to change it all for the last week to peak that extra 10%.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to walk out blasting full. So I won't ruin it for everybody by listing all the things off. But let's start. Let's start with you and the BBC documentary.
Okay.
So let's start. I was going to say let's start with the hyperhydration method by Aeronn Bevan.
So this is Aeronn's. Darren didn't know anything about this, so Darren can't take credit for the hyperhydration, 8 liters of water a day on prep protocol. So anyone that knows will know that's total bullshit, and the BBC were very kind in editing it sounding like I did that. Also, may I add, edited it so it sounded like I went for a piss whilst on air and flushed the chain and everything with a comedy flush. We'll try and clip it up for the Instagram. We'll get pointers.
Oh, good.
Okay, cool. I went for a comedy piss, as you would do, but I think again that's because they'd caught wind of all these myths and stuff like that, and they wanted to be sensationalistic about water. Didn't drink the 8 litres of water a day. Did, however, slightly taper up water at the beginning of the week and slightly taper it down without going into a great deal of detail. And I found that's a safe way to do it, a simple way to do it. Science it a little bit without getting too science. Basically, and this will, I think for peak week, it's key to remember this. A lot of the things that you're trying to manipulate in peak week,
just
call it
peak muscle week. Yeah,
and that's funny because we don't keep anything the same. Peak week is you're trying to manipulate a hormonal response, is what you're trying to do, and in doing that, you're hoping that it's hormonal response is generally a slower. Because it will take a couple of days to regulate, be back in homeostasis and stuff like that. So you're hoping that by increasing water, you'll increase the amount of diuresis because your body's going, I don't need all this water. And then you slowly taper it down as you get to the show, to the point where maybe around show day you're not drinking a whole lot of water, but your body still has that hormonal response of, I've been drinking a lot of water, so I still need to flush a lot of water. And how you can kind of get around doing that is because it's hormonal, and therefore your body can take a little bit, as a rule of thumb, not being a doctor, but as a rule of thumb, your body can take a little bit while longer to catch up on a hormonal response as opposed to a nerve impulse, where you're moving and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's the premise behind it. And I guess maybe you've got some examples of some people who've done more extreme daft things with water.
Yeah, I mean, I guess where to start, really. I mean, the whole idea, I think, of where it's come from is people that said are obviously building up water in an attempt to then remove it at the end of the week to get drier.
Yeah.
The biggest problem I think that I mainly have with that is that really your carbohydrates and water go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think the actual scientific ratios are 4 mil to every gram of carbohydrate you consume.
Yeah.
So what I was finding, especially in the olden days with regards to when helping people for shows and myself included, is that you would often wonder why someone was so flat all the time, and they're on a fairly decent amount of carbs, okay, but they are literally like waterlogging their system every day, because it was taught that basically you did 5 to 6, 7 liters of water every day closer to a show, because this is prepping your body for obviously then the drying out process, which to a certain point there has some sort of, you do have to effectively raise your water up to a certain point so that you don't end up having, problems with diluting your blood so much, because that's how you kill yourself. If you can drink enough water in a short space of time, that's what happens. Hyperhydration.
8 liters.
However, 8 liters. But you probably need a lot more, and it has to be a lot more in a short space of time from not having doing that. So that's why everyone wonders, well, I've been drinking 8 liters, why aren't I dead? So that's why. But the problem is that when you drink a large amount of water like that, you obviously are, one, you're waterlogging your system, so you're getting flat, but you're also going to the toilet a lot, which means that you're also losing a lot of electrolytes as well. So when you deplete your body of all those electrolytes and all the sodium that you've got because your body cannot get rid of that water enough, that's why you go so flat. So the problem with drinking too much water is the fact that you're as effectively a little bit more on a depletion is okay. But if you're then putting carbs back in and you are waterlogging your system trying to get back out, you're having trouble getting back full. People always understand, why aren't I getting full? Like I'm eating enough carbohydrates, but you are literally like, you're 10 liters of water again, and you're carbing up, you're on 300 grams of carbs, and wondering why you're not getting full, and why that salt is then obviously being, depleted. Yeah. And that's something that I was just having, like, even like Baz, a good friend and stuff, and it was like telling him, like, you need to reduce a little bit of water because you're putting all these carbs and stuff back in, and you feel terrible. It's down to the amount of water that you're drinking. So, like, I think that there's that, first of all, so we can maybe cover it on that point. But I'm not sure if you want to kind of go into, like, obviously, the kind of process was there originally, I guess, without obviously flattening out, because obviously of actually drying out for a show. That's why people would drink so much water.
Yeah, well, you make some really interesting points on that one, especially because it's one of those, isn't it? Is you've got more anecdotal evidence than a lot of people will have of clients, yourself, from a lot of experience. Like you said, you mentioned that. So generally, water follows solutes. So yes, water follows carbs, and when people are carbing up, it's keen to remember it's not the carbs that make you full. You could go the other way. You could be too extreme with cutting water, and you could eat all the carbs in the world. Dave Palumbo says this a lot. You can eat all the carbs in the world, but if you're cutting your water, it will not make you any fuller. Carbs don't make you full. It's when the carbs in your muscle and the water follows it in fullness. In addition to that, cutting your water too early, and I just mentioned the hormonal response. If you're dehydrated, and also because we can go into the next point really after this, if you're eating less salt than you normally eat, whether you're always eating high or you're always eating medium or you're always eating low, your body will produce aldosterone.
Aldosterone is as the Americans call it. Yeah,
of course. In response to dehydration and reduce blood pressure, or it will aim to reduce your blood pressure, and that will happen in response to reduced salt and reduced liquid intake, and that will make you flat and spilled and cloudy and all of the things that you do not want on a bodybuilding stage, and you'll be hot, and you will just it is not good. So it's back to that thing again. It's trying to get that extra 1% when you're possibly going to lose 10%. And that's not to say that you can't do certain things with water, and maybe to a lesser degree salt. As I mentioned, what we did last year with Darren was we did a small increase at the start of the week, and then a taper down towards the end of the week when the carbs were coming into actually just a normal amount of water. Like a regular amount of water. The higher water days were at the beginning. And then you see,
because as I said, it makes sense to do that especially on your depletion days.
Right.
Like if my goal is to get flat because I'm going to load 1,000 grams of carbs into my body, I don't want to be semi-full. I want everything to be depleted out of me. So it makes sense to have a little bit more water. But then it's then not to, then, as I said, if you're then going to have 1,000 grams of carbs, you don't want to be having 12, 13 liters of water, because you'll have all sorts of problems, especially when you're then, as I said, I often find as well, people like, unless they're given it strict instructions by a coach with things like salt when they carb up, just like because it's not your normal meat and potato meal and veg that you would always salt. It's like, all right, I'm just having a potato by itself. I forgot to put salt on. And it's like, you have to be so clear with instructions with people. And it's really, I've seen this. I'm like, well, like, I've written in there in bold letters on a spreadsheet, keep salt the same. But it's like, as I said, it's easy to make those mistakes when it's not your normal routine of eating and stuff like that. Yeah. So, and that's obviously where things can go wrong. I said, if just go and do the experiment yourself, like go and lay in the sun all day, drink tons of water, and effectively, see what happens. Is like, you're going to get rid of every bit of electrolyte, and that's why when you go and have a sauna, why you feel disgusting afterwards sometimes, because you've done that. So that's kind of like just basic stuff which people maybe overlook, and that's probably happened to them during prep or towards peak week, and then they can't really explain why, and that's why.
So what I done to finish on that one, then, how I'd underline it is, there are things you can do. I do it. I know a few other people do it. Just very subtle manipulations with water. If you've got a coach, listen to what they're saying. Don't go cavalier. Don't start reading other things. And if your coach tells you that what you're going to be doing with water is very subtle and doesn't sound like one of these myths and cowboy, methods, then it's probably the right thing. Yeah, you're probably doing the right thing.
The issue with kind of saying on the same subject is that more so with assisted clients, actually, is they're always like, they're worried about not drying out because they obviously don't really want to. So I don't cut water for my show. Now there's people who do successfully, like Dave K. He's always known to obviously do cut his water for a show. So it's not the fact that it doesn't work. It's just the fact that it's too risky for me, because every time that I've done it, I've always looked worse. So the fact is that if you're drying hard before a show, and then you want to mess about with water and mess about with salt too much without the good enough experience on your own body to have done it, then that's where obviously a lot of problems come from. And as I said, what happens is a lot of my clients are always like, when are we going to get dry for the show? I'm like, well, you're already peeled, already look great, so there's no need to kind of do that. And then, as I said, you'll get a better pump backstage, all that kind of stuff. So it brings me on, I guess, to the next point. So actually dehydrating for a show, and alcohol before a show, obviously, because when are we going to get dry for the show?
So there's diuretics then in general, isn't it, as well? But actually, just quickly on alcohol, what people need to understand with alcohol. So again, with assisted clients, or assisted bodybuilders in general, a lot of the diuretics that assisted bodybuilders use, they tend to be either a sodium sparing. You might have heard sodium sparing diuretic or potassium sparing diuretic, and a whole other. It's not something that we're going to get into on this podcast. What the trouble with alcohol is, it's a loop diuretic. So basically, it just means you're just going to piss everything. Just everything's going to go, and that's just a very, very dangerous way to try and dry out. It's not. The coaches and clients that kind of are successful with doing this, we'll have it down to a science. But like you said, just knocking back a whiskey the night before your show because you've heard about it and you think it's something you should do, it's not a great idea. And I'm sure some people may have had success with it.
But I mean, if it's something that helps you calm your nerves before a show, because you're super nervous the night before, that can obviously have a massive detrimental effect on you. And therefore, I look better after that, probably because it helped you relax. But the issue with alcohol that I have, and for other people I've spoken to, like Guy Addison, who was the person who told me about it, is that the issue with having, let's say, over 250 mils of alcohol. So we're talking people saying I had a bottle of wine before the show, woke up shredded. Is that anything over about 250 mils of alcohol, your body or your liver starts to excrete toxins to get rid of that alcohol. So what can end up happening is you end up actually cloudier, and your body end up looking the next day thinking, why do I look so awful? Is actually the alcohol as a direct result of you having that. And so small amount is fine. A large amount can be massively detrimental to you. So if you ever hear other than a whiskey, great, take the nerves off. And it might obviously, and he said you might end up getting a little bit more dehydrated the next day to a reasonable amount. The problem is obviously, say with having a bottle of whiskey, it's kind of like I said, it's going to do you more harm than good. So it's not about, people will associate with, I'm going to get drunk the night before the show. And that's where the issue is massively. And I've often seen people do it at shows. That's
probably another problem that you've got. If you just want to get hammered the night before a show, then that's something else. You're not trying to get dry.
Exactly that. So obviously that's the big issue with, I guess, with alcohol for itself. And I think that the tying that both into high amounts of water and cutting your water for a show. So this is the other problem, without us getting into it being sciencey podcast. The myths of bodybuilding is that when I cut my water for my show, what happens is that I'm going to be left really, really full with all the water and carbs in my muscle, but magically I'm able to get that nice layer of water underneath my skin out by dehydrating. And unfortunately, for all you bros out there, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if you imagine it like a balloon, so your muscle's like a balloon, obviously with your two layers. What's the name of the surface below? You've got subcutaneous layer.
Oh right, yeah.
Subcutaneous layer. So obviously they both exit the cell at the same proportions. So when you load water in, or when you try and take it out, it's going to come out of the muscle and underneath the skin. You aren't magically able to trick your body by having alcohol, by having other things, to actually do that. So that's where the issue lies. And then, as I said, then the issue lies again, as I said, then throwing in carbs, taking out water, and then expect you're going to get this miraculous result where you end up really, really dry and hard. The muscle's stuck to the skin, and that's just got thinner.
Yeah,
doesn't happen.
I think we're the type of bodybuilder that might be able to get away with trying something like this, as opposed to someone that would really suffer from it, I think, is if you're someone that struggles to get full, if you're someone that struggles to fill out, and then heavy methods of trying to reduce water are really, really going to leave you in a bad place. Whereas Absolutely. If you're someone that finds it quite easy to get full, and actually maybe at 90% fullness still looks banging, but perhaps the little bit of dehydration can provide a bit more hardness, then perhaps it's for you and it's for exploring. But if you're someone that's like eating 2.5 kilos of potatoes a day, to try and get full, it's probably not for you. So.
Definitely. So I mean, as I said, that's always, I guess, the bro side of obviously just water manipulation straight away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Where else should we go? Should we stay with peak week?
Yeah. If you've got anything else for peak week, yeah, go. Training.
Training. I guess there's obviously something. It really depends on the rest of your prep and what you're trying to achieve. As I said, I think every peak week I've done is different on the basis of the fact it's all really down to where that person is at that point. And, if you've got someone who's a bit fatter, they're not doing an aggressive peak week. They're doing some small manipulations to help them. And unfortunately, peak week isn't save you and magical week. It's just about how you enhance that difference. So as far as any myths, peak week is not a show saver, unfortunately. Yeah. It's that side of things. I think that there's a few things maybe with regards to like backstage stuff, which we probably are going to talk about a little bit on our group discussion with show day experiences. But there's definitely a few things that I've found that for me, for example, and for a lot of others, like there's one thing I was speaking to Vicky about recently, and how by having lots of sugars pre-stage. So everyone goes, right, and you get a pump. So Haribo style, fantastic, what are they called? Help me out here.
Star Mix, Super Mix, the fizzy one.
No. What's the fizzy one called?
Fantastic or something? I don't know.
It is called Oh, it's going to irritate me now. What is it? Tangfastics. That's the
Nice.
word.
Hey.
Thanks, Claire.
Cheers, Claire.
So what the problem is with having lots of sugary stuff before you go on stage is that will make you sweat.
Right.
And by making you sweat means tan run. And by tan run means drippy bodybuilder, which is never a good look on stage.
No.
So, and it always tend to be the people who tend to sweat more, people who haven't practiced their posing, and the people who are generally fatter.
I mean, yeah.
Generally.
If it's a cardio session to pose for 2 rounds, then yeah.
Yes. So that's one thing definitely that I've been guilty of myself in the past. And it's not even so much lots of sugary stuff. It might even just be like, I always used to use like things like sugary raisins and stuff, like chocolate coated raisins and stuff like that, because it was my backstage favorite. But definitely noticed the difference when I've gone overboard on those and sweat a lot. And then other times where I've just stuck with the DFAC green grapes.
Green grapes.
Not red grapes, Darren Loxton.
Nope.
And almonds. Winner every time.
What about cheesy peanuts?
Not to be tried yet, but won't be trying them either.
Okay.
I'd love to just turn up backstage with a big block of grated cheese. I'd be like, peanuts, cheese, yeah, anyone? Yeah.
Never seen someone so pissed off about cheesy peanuts, but anyway, I don't. Yeah,
we'll leave Peak Week there because, I mean, maybe it's something people will want to know more about in the future. And I think it's actually quite a good episode to do by itself because there's so much confusion and stuff around it. But we're going to try and stay with the bro myths, aren't we, really?
Okay, then. So, anabolic window.
Anabolic window. Have we spoke about this recently? Or is it just be on one of them non-bodybuilding podcasts, like on the voice notes?
Someone can tell us if we've spoke about it before. It's fine. Good
memories. So, where to start with this one? Why don't you kick us off? All
right. So
let's define the bro version first. So the belief was you have 30 minutes from when you finish your last set to not missing your anabolic window was the 30-minute window post-workout.
Yeah.
That was where your body was susceptible to all the nutrients and you convert it all to muscle, pretty much.
Right. Well, I mean...
It's true. So we'll move on.
It's one of those, right? It's, if you decide to have an intra-workout and then you're going to go home an hour later and slam an actual meal, then that's going to be great as well. Only thing I would say is that knocking back a whey isolate or isolate. You got it? No. Knocking back a whey isolate with a high sugar like dextrose or something like that. You're going to get a nice big insulin spike post-workout, and that's just going to maybe take the nutrients where they need to go.
Straightens my arms.
Yeah, not mine. But whether it's that important or not, whether you choose to do that and instead go home have a whole meal.
Well, the issue is, so there's some where the kind of, if you like, the lines have got crossed. So the thing is, first of all, is that when we talk about protein being broken down into amino acids, which is effectively what your body does, obviously when you eat meat, whatever. The fact of having an isolate shake is that the absorption time for that is way, way faster than what, let's say, chicken is. So let's say isolise, it's 30 minutes for your body to break that down to an hour. And something like chicken breast is like 6 hours, and then something like beef is like 20 hours.
Right.
All right. So there's a big difference there, first of all. You're obviously wanting to just recover the recovery process. But it was often believed if you missed that 30-minute window, that it was almost like pointless.
Yeah,
like you basically like, you know, well, not the workout was pointless, but you've missed it. You've missed your chance to get optimal gains. Okay. So, you know, me and Dan would always be like, have you had your post-workout shake yet? This is back in the day, by the way. So there's that. But the problem is, as I said, that it apparently, so I read, it makes no difference whatsoever, however long you decide to, whether you eat 2 hours afterwards, half an hour afterwards, 5 minutes afterwards, makes no difference. You won't lose any muscle. And, so apparently it doesn't make a difference.
Well, that's it, isn't it? And maybe it's more than anything, if you've trained hard enough, and maybe you're dieting, you're probably going to be quite hungry after you've trained, so you're just going to want to eat something quick. Or
like, why delay the process of recovering? That's what I say.
There you go. Or you're in off season and you're not that hungry because you're eating a lot. So why not slam a shake right after training? Because
well, do you like? Let's answer that properly then, shall we? You mean because in off season and we've trained legs, and we have a post-workout shake, but we've also going to go maybe just one scoop because we're driving straight to Five Guys.
Yeah.
And we're going to get a burger. So therefore, if we didn't have a shake, but we drove straight to Five Guys, it would also be acceptable to wait an hour instead of in 10 minutes.
Significant calorie increase, though, isn't it? With the large fry and the 7 patties.
The saltiest fries ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
right.
Anabolic windows debunked. Okay. Yeah. So don't worry about it. But probably makes good bodybuilding sense in some means.
Looks cool, doesn't it? Slamming a shake. Post work.
Not sure if I ever told you I've got one of these shakers which I call the Ultimate Shaker. Never told you about this one.
Might have mentioned it once or twice.
Mentioned it. So it's called Shakespeare. Okay. What's that?
You've never actually told me the name because I kind of turn off every time you mention it because you just say it.
So the story began, everybody, that I bought one of those Shakespeare Shakers, which is basically patent pending, I guess, or patented, I don't know. But basically it's a shaker with a round bottom. So basically you can put your powder in first or a banana and it will blend that banana up or that shake up perfect every time. No protein stuck to the bottom. The banana will actually go to complete mush. Obviously you've got to unwrap the banana first, take the peel off.
And put
obviously. Not even put water in, just shake it up and down. Brilliant. But the thing is that it doesn't have any blades or anything in it. It's just because of the rounded base of the shaker. So I call it best shaker ever.
Yeah.
And I proceed to tell Aaron every single time that I get the shaker out of my bag and make a shake. And tell him that story about the shaker of why it's so good.
Yeah,
still not sponsored by Shakespeare or Gasp or anyone, but would be a good, as seen on Dragon's Den, Shakespeare.
Yeah. Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Okay.
So I'll send you the episode, mate, so we can.
I'm looking forward to it. All right. So some nutrition stuff there, I guess. Maybe we'll wrap it up with some kind of more training things. So
I need to know about the white fish first.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Before we move on from nutrition, then you can roll with that.
How are we doing for time?
Coming on an hour, so we'll do white fish, and then we'll mention a few training things.
Okay.
Go on. You're the one currently doing it. So
the white fish myth. So it was often believed, renowned by a certain Mr. Olympia. Certain Mr. Olympia eating orange roughy. That white fish was good for thinning the skin. True or false?
I mean,
I don't want to go against Jay Cutler, but it sounds a bit fishy. The fact that I'm going to eat white fish and it's just going to thin my skin out because scales.
It's kind of one of those things, actually, now you mention it, that it's a bit like spot reducing fat, isn't it? So what the phenomenon Jay Cutler was probably experiencing was he was a big fucking dude who needed a lot of calories to stay big and be fat. And so when he was reduced his calories to the point where he was eating greens and orange roughy, his thin skin wasn't getting thinner. He was just becoming less fat. Likewise, when trying to spot reduce fat from a muscle area, like squeezing your glutes on a Stairmaster, well, it's not going to make the fat magically go from your ass. Two things might happen.
You've crossed over the myths now. I'm not happy about this. There's a whole nother myth you could have done.
Okay, so I'm going to carry on because the squeezing of the glutes is a way of training your glutes. So what you might see is you might have not had very good muscles in your glutes because you never trained them, and now you're training them, and now you go, oh, I've lost fat on my glutes. You haven't. You've developed the glute muscle.
More muscle.
Or by going on said piece of cardio equipment and continually dieting and eating the orange roughy and all the things that are making you less fat. And eventually the fat comes from that place that you've been training, just because it will come from everywhere at some point. And then you go, oh, because I was doing the glute kickbacks on the Stairmaster, I've lost fat from this.
Basically works.
So to tie it all around, that's why I said it was like the orange roughy, is because it's more of a byproduct, I think, of eating the food rather than it being a direct effect. You're not thinning the skin.
I would probably say as well, like, if you compare it to beef, then yes, it's less calorie dense, but it's probably easier to digest as well.
Right.
So therefore, it's like, oh well, yeah, it's thinning my skin, but it's probably just an easier digestion, which didn't make your arms thinner.
But is orange roughy easier digestion? Because doesn't it make you have weird, oily, sort of not very nice poos?
Apparently so, but I've never really eaten any.
Okay.
Like, all I can just describe it as, I think it's just like some weird white frozen fish.
Okay. Sounds.
Yeah, as I said, like no one needs to eat frozen fish because I bought some when we was going into panic mode.
Yeah. And
compared to a normal packet of sea bass, it doesn't even come close. Just tasteless, wet, watery fish. So don't buy frozen fish.
Can't even be made better with cheese.
No, just about to say that. That's mental. Don't put any cheese on it. Yeah, cheesy fish. Yeah, definitely not cheesy fish. That's another savoury food that probably, well, I guess it would be made more palatable with cheese, so it doesn't really count. I can't say it would be better.
Okay.
Like a fish fillet from McDonald's, basically a fish finger sandwich with cheese. It's going to need it.
That sounds pretty good. It's a low day for me as well, and I'm about to have my last meal, and a fish finger sandwich with cheese on it right now would be delightful.
Because when my mate said about a fillet of fish, I was like, "Are you mad?" And then he bought one at McDonald's, and I tried it and was like, "Okay, I'm convinced it's actually pretty good." Not that I would choose it over a burger. Not that I really eat McDonald's anyway. It's definitely like my last takeaway on the list. We have to choose for all of them. So sorry, any McDonald's fans out there, but I'd rather pay £100 for Five Guys.
Without saying. All right. So then, bro exercises is what we're going to maybe finish on.
Bro exercises. So I guess there's a number of things, isn't there? But let's go with the most annoying.
Okay. I've got two.
Okay. Well, I'm probably going to steal one of yours, but I'm just going to give everyone the backstory. So there's a guy, there's a, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the name of someone who designs a machine?
Machine designer.
It's not. It's like some sort of a hammer strength engineer.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
So what this guy has done is he's gone to work for Hammer Strength.
Mm.
Okay. He's been through college, university.
Yeah.
And he's probably interested in training himself.
Yeah.
And what his thought is, it's like, right, I'm going to build an incline hammer strength machine, okay, for targeting upper pecs.
Yeah.
And I'm going to play around with the biomechanics of this machine, a biomechanist.
Okay.
Right?
Biomechanic. Just.
Biomechanic. No, ist sounds better. Right? He's spent a long time at university, okay, working on body biomechanics.
Did he do a gap year or no?
He did, yeah.
Where did he go?
Yeah. He went to the KP factory for testing cheesy peanuts.
Okay.
Okay, in his gap year, and then he came back to being the hammer strength machinist.
Yeah.
Biomechanicist. Anyway, the point of this story is that someone has been through all this trouble to develop a machine for you that operates in a way that you can target your muscles in the best possible position.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then bring along Gymshark Hero. Okay. With his nipple vest. And what he's going to do is, first he's going to put his chic belt on.
Yeah.
Wrap that up real tight.
Yeah.
Okay.
With taper, taper looks a lot like this.
I love how you've got diagrams. Okay. Okay. Probably got invisible lat syndrome.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Definitely wears a backward hat like me. Definitely. Yeah. Right. And is probably got no bodybuilding attire in his whole wardrobe. He's just a Gymshark hero. Anyway, what he's decided to do is that fuck what this guy knows about building this machine from hammer strength, because this biomechanic guy knows nothing.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit sideways on this machine and I'm going to do this with the movement to build inner pecs. So basically, why bother doing that machine properly? Because definitely sitting on it and swinging it sideways with 10 kilos either side for ultimate chest pump. So the bro myths, first of all, is like try not to reinvent the wheel with these stupid bro exercises. The diet anger is definitely coming out tonight for sure.
That includes also the biomechanicist has also made a wide range of lat pull downs and back machines. That also includes putting additional handles on the back machines for some reason.
Team handles?
Quote, handles for angles.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely one of mine, but I think it's one that we share massively anyway, because, you know, did you ever see Jay, Dorian, Ronnie sitting sideways on a chest press with his tens?
Yeah, I saw Ronnie at the like all the way through his Mr. Olympia career. Yeah. That's how he put all that mass on his chest. Yep. Doing that, swinging it around. So don't be that guy. I can't wait to go and film those this week. I'm definitely going to film them when I go to the gym, and I'll show you.
Film something.
I've just been doing these this week for chest.
Just almost like you were in court as well, and you know the guy drawing people. I've finished my drawing of the person you just described.
Okay. Nice. Good.
We have not.
Is that his stringers? Excellent.
That's his stringers. His lats. He's got a very wide waist, but no taper, and his cap backwards. So.
That's excellent.
There you
go. Good drawing. Good artist corner. Basically Tony Hart.
Yeah.
So well done.
Nice one. All right. So I'll finish it then. And I mean, what you've just basically said is bro exercises. So don't fucking try and reinvent the wheel. I guess everyone's having to try and do a little bit of something in the garden and the living room or whatever, and that's fine. But you know,
not as good as me though. So don't come close. So.
So what I would my bro exercisey bugbear thing then as well is exercises that look real fucking intense, and to the guys in the gym, everyone around you, it's like this guy is the shit. And there's a lot of exercises that we could talk about, but the main culprit of this is 1 inch top of quad to bottom of hip rack pulls.
Oh yeah, nice.
If you are rack pulling and your range of motion is this.
Yep.
And you've got 18 plates aside, it's not going to make you have a bigger back.
What is it? Johnny Jackson, the world's strongest shrugger?
Yeah. I mean, Johnny Jackson can rip some plates off the floor, so he's at least allowed. But if you've not got a big back and, you're trying to get one.
I have a question. Is it a rack pull if it isn't below the knees?
Nope.
It's a shrug, isn't it?
Rack pulls do not count if they're not below the knees. So next time you put your rack pull PB or your leg press PB, that is this range of motion, not including me. I've got the tiniest legs of all time, and it looks like I'm doing that all the time anyway. Doesn't count. So that'll be a lesson.
Yeah, exactly that. I really feel like we've missed something on the overall myths, but I think that's definitely a good one to be up there, because it's probably got into, rather than it being myths, it wasn't really a myth, it was more of a bugbear, wasn't it? Really. But basically, it's not a back exercise, or even an exercise worth doing if it's not mid shin.
Well, I don't even know what exercise. I don't know quite what you're exercising, because if you've got a belt on and you've got straps on, it's not grip. It's not really low back. Hips. You get slightly stronger hips for.
Yeah. Good. More wear and tear on the hips.
Sure. All right. So not for me.
Exactly that. Well, I think I'm out of ideas. Of myths. So if you have any other myths that you'd like us to send through, comment below.
Well, how about there are many other things that we could discuss. So if anyone would like us to discuss any other bodybuilding myths, comment or comment on Instagram posts and stuff like that. But comment down here on the YouTubes, and we might save it for a part 2 with one of the round tables. How about that? Episode 2 of Saved by the Dumbbell.
Yeah, because I think it's going to get very much into the Natural Bodybuilding Worldwide Room 101. It can easily get into that discussion, because I was going to talk about, but it isn't a myth. But them gym experiences where, I went to a powerlifting gym in Cambridge. And that was a very funny experience, being a bodybuilder in a powerlifting gym. Something I've only ever been to in one place. To watch people have, how many sets have we got left? I've got 25 minutes. What? How many sets have we got left? Well, I've got 4 sets, but I've got 17-minute rest in between each one. Oh, right, okay, cool, that way. I'll go and just go fuck myself then. So there's that. But then there was always the worst thing about that gym was watching people wind up for their bench press. So the best arc in all the world, taking 10 minutes to get into position by doing some acrobatics.
Oh yeah.
And then bench 10 kilos aside in a suit, and then me just to then go off and just basically do one-legged press, a one-legged press on the bench press with triple their weight, and it's that's ridiculous. How are you spending all that time getting into position to move it 2 inches with just 10 kilos aside? Probably powerlifting's not the sport for you.
Yeah, same goes for squats. Same goes for rocking up in all the gear. No idea. 1 rep. Sort of shitty low bar sort of squat.
Yeah, don't do it. So it's not really a myth, but it's going to definitely do a definite bugbear, or strangest things you've seen in the gym for sure.
Yeah, we'll maybe when we post this, we'll maybe retitle it as things that we're angry about in bodybuilding, including cheesy nuts.
Well, I don't know if I'm even angry about them. I just don't believe in them just yet.
Yet.
I can't wait for you to serve me those. Like a bar snack. Cheesy peanuts on the bar.
Yeah.
All it's making me think about, though, is like when you said the cheesy coating, it's just them Sahara nuts. Hot Sahara nuts.
Okay. Do you like them?
I love them, yeah, but they're not cheesy. So.
All right.
More spicy.
See about that next time.
I'm mouth watering thinking about Sahara nuts now.
Yeah. Okay.
Give me some refeeds tomorrow anyway.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I've got good weekend food lined up for sure.
Good. I've got normal food. Update. I'm still fat. Probably will be for a while.
Any weight this week?
Half a kilo.
Good. Okay.
Noticed.
Half a kilo, a pound. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Noticed that I can't really. I've dropped my food a little bit because minicut. I'm just not getting the intensity in workouts. It's training in my living room with a couple of dumbbells is not the same as 4-plate squats and stuff like that. So food will go down until it can come back up when we train properly again. So see about that.
Yes, indeedy. So so please put any myths in the comments below, and we'll be sure to comment on them next time. If not, you're welcome to inbox us on our Instagrams as well.
Carry a pigeon.
Carry a pigeon? Yeah, why not?
Signal. Whatever you like.
I thought you said car a pigeon then.
Car a pigeon. Yeah, sweet.
Excellent. Right then, well, over and out on that note. So another fantastic episode 10.
Yeah.
Can't wait for next week for the roundtable discussion.
Gonna be awesome.
And we're going to be doing it. Can we announce it? I guess we can.
We're going to record it on Thursday, yeah?
Record it on Thursday, and it's going to be about first-timers, first show experiences, and maybe what to expect, all wrapped around into your show day. So what to expect, and maybe a little bit about our first show experiences. So anyone who's getting into the sport, definitely follow Natty Muscle Radio for a start. And secondly, that will be a really nice discussion with 2 new faces for the week. So yeah.
Sweet.
Cool. Excellent.
All right. Natty Muscle Radio.
There's always another level. Or we're so bloody good at podcasts, as Dan North would say. So
love cheesy nuts.
Love cheesy nuts. Right. Over and out.
Over
See you
and out.
later. Bye bye.